Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a new classical music moronic moment. Yes, there are so many to choose from, but this one really got me. There was something that just got under my skin, and I have to share it with you. It comes to us courtesy of, what is this thing called? Classic FM, the English magazine, I think it is. And they have an article here called 10 Pieces of Classical Music That Will 100% Change Your Life. Yeah, well, okay. So what do you think those are? Because then they have read more, 30 greatest classical composers of all time. Now, I know. Everybody likes lists. I do lists, right? 10 of this, the 15 best that. We do it. We all do it because they're handy. And, you know, one of the things that they tell you in marketing is that people love lists, do lots of lists. Well, they work. I can attest to it. More people look at the videos I do where I have 10 lists of this or 10 lists of that. The difference is I really try hard not to do stupid lists. I try to make recommendations that make sense, recordings that make sense, practical lists. And I don't make claims for them that are nonsensical, like they will 100% really change your life. Of course, they don't say how they would change your life. And looking at the list, I can see that there's a reason they don't say, because some of them may change your life for the better, and some of them may really make it worse. But I want to go through the list because it's such in some ways, unbelievably predictable, but that in the ways that it's not predictable, completely insane. So you ready? Here we go. Number 1, life-changing classic, 100% guaranteed, the St. Matthew Passion by Bach. I know, some people love it. Some people think it's transformative. I think it's long and dull. So, and grim and miserable and unhappy and depressing. I mean, how is that going to change your life? Well, I don't know. Maybe one of you will write and tell me it has changed your life. So I will give you full credit for it. Then, wait a minute. Get this. Tchaikovsky Symphony No. 6, the Pathétique. So if the St. Matthew Passion does not want to make you slit your wrists, you can always segue to the Tchaikovsky Pathétique and really kill yourself. I mean, let's take something miserable and follow it by something despairing. How's that for a combination? It's the 1-2 punch of misery. Yeah. So that's number 2. Number 3, Mahler 2. Okay. It's optimistic. I mean, it's optimistic in the sense that it ends triumphantly. Of course, it's about the resurrection, so you already have to be dead in order to enjoy the heroic ending. It is, of course, I adore Mahler too. I mean, it thrills me. It really does. And I remember the first time I heard it. Was it a life-changing experience? No, unfortunately, my life just went on. I put it in my record stack and went on with my existence. However, it did make me love Mahler. I wouldn't say that was life-changing either, but it was enriching, and I enjoyed it very much. So, yeah, okay. I suppose that your life is changed to the extent that you learn to love something new. I give them full credit for that. So Mahler too. But these are all, it's kind of heavy, this stuff, isn't it? Don't you think? Wait, it gets better. Beethoven's Grosse Fuge. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The Grosse Fuge. Now, there's a life-changing experience, isn't it? I can't even begin to describe, how that's going to affect whatever change they think it will, or why they stuck that in there, other than it's very, very trendy and highbrow. When you put in Beethoven's Grosse Fuge, that's a big deal. That's like saying that your psychiatrist is Sigmund Freud. You're in the upper echelons of classical music elitism if you can deal with the Grosse Fuge. Actually, it's not that tough, but it has the reputation. It's the mythos. And so they're still operating at this, only music that is so difficult or ambitious or grandiose that it has to be transformative, right? Wrong. Okay, there we go. Number 5. The Mozart Requiem. Okay, so if the St. Matthew Passion and the Tchaikovsky Pathétique don't get you down, well, there's always the Mozart Requiem. Why not? It's all about death and suffering. Everything that they're recommending here. I mean, even the Mahler is about death and suffering. Fortunately, you get over it, after you're dead. But still, the Mozart Requiem is number 5. Number 6, the Monteverdi Vespers. Now, I've done a video on the Monteverdi Vespers. I adore the Monteverdi Vespers. The problem is that their description of it is completely wrong as to the musical facts. They say, Monteverdi's Vespers are hugely entertaining on their own terms. For starters, it's simply enormous in scale. If you want to be crude about it, and we do, see they're trying to, dumb it down a little, then you could describe it as Monteverdi taking church music to the opera with all the drama that implies. Trumpets, drums, massive choruses, florid vocal lines, and really, this really is the greatest hits of the early Baroque. Okay, well, it's actually a rather intimate work for the most part. It really is, right? You've got the opening toccata, and then as like a larger number, the only other one is like Lauda Jerusalem. And the rest of it is rather on a small scale, intimate, small groupings of solo and chamber-sized forces. And anybody who's expecting to hear like Mahler 2 or the St. Matthew Passion or Mahler 8 is going to be disappointed. I mean, it's just clearly a case of overselling. Now, don't get me wrong. The music is glorious, absolutely glorious, and I adore it. But describe it for what it is. And is it going to change your life? Well, I think after hearing that description and then listening to it, you're likely to be disappointed. But wait, Elgar Cello Concerto is number 7. Huh? Well, it's a British magazine. They had to do it, right? I mean, that would be me like saying the 10 most unbelievable symphonies that are going to shake your world and saying that one of them is Piston Second. Well, Piston Second is a magnificent work. I adore it. But would I call it a transformative musical experience? No. Even on their own terms. I mean, the Elgar Cello Concerto, how does, what, who? I mean, I am speechless. Absolutely speechless. I mean, I don't even like the Elgar Cello Concerto, but whether I like it or not has nothing to do with it. It's not the kind of piece that's going to rock your world. Okay, if you want to be consistent, then pick The Dream of Gerontius, or pick Elgar's Second Symphony, or pick his very greatest orchestral work, The March of the Mughal Emperors from the Crown of India Suite. I mean, there are lots of choices before you get to the Cello Concerto. I mean, that's bizarre. Number 8, after the Elgar Cello Concerto, relax and enjoy Wagner's Ring. Now, there's a piece that I think is directly comparable in weight and substance to the Elgar Cello Concerto. Wouldn't you agree? Don't you think that they're equally transformative? I mean, come on. Okay, The Ring is The Ring. We all know it. And I agree. It's a wonderful experience, and Wagner can actually transform your life if you happen to be a budding cult member or, some sort of person of delusional evangelical bent. Let's put it that way. Then the Ring cycle is just perfect if traditional religion isn't your thing and you're looking for the answers to the meaning of the universe. The Ring is just the thing. So yes, I agree. It can be transformative. It was for thousands of people back in the 19th and early 20th centuries. So, okay, I'll give him that one, right? We have to. It's Wagner. It's megalomania run amok. So that's okay. Wait for number 9. This is what really gets me. Max Richter, Vivaldi recomposed. Slit them now. It's time. Now, how on earth does Max Richter's Vivaldi recomposed match up with Bach's St. Matthew Passion, the Tchaikovsky Pathétique, the Mozart Requiem, Mahler 2, The Ring? Never mind Elgar's Cello Concerto. Where on earth did that bit of insanity come from? Max Richter, Vivaldi recomposed. Can you believe it? I don't. I can't. I can't even wrap my brain around it. The cognitive dissonance is blotting out all sensation. So I have to go to number 10. Here he is, number 10. Gorecki's Third Symphony. Now, it's a lovely work. Don't get me wrong. They claim the most emotionally draining piece of music ever written. Oh, yeah? Oh, really? I mean, really? The most emotionally draining piece of music ever written? Are they insane? Well, clearly they are. Absolutely. Is it going to change your world? The Symphony of Sorrowful Songs? Well, it's lovely and it's very affecting and very moving, but I can think of a few other numbers that are just as emotionally draining. How about the Threnody for the Victims of Hiroshima by Penderecki? If you want to just stay in Poland for a moment, or any of his other major choral works. I mean, my goodness. I mean, draining? Das Lied von der Erde or Mahler's Ninth. But they already have Mahler once, you see. You can't be emotionally draining twice. The Bruckner Nine. How about that one? How about, oh my God, there's just, oh dear. Salome. That's emotionally draining. I mean, Lady Macbeth of Mtsensk District, Shostakovich 8. My goodness. Statements like that are just so absurd and on their face of it, unbelievable. And I don't think it does the world of classical music any help to make stupid lists. And that is a stupid list. So I present my own list. Wait a minute, here it is. I have it right here. And I call this list 10 pieces of music that will do absolutely nothing whatsoever to change your life. Zero. Nothing. They're just great to listen to. That's all they're going to do. So I'm going to give you my list of 10 fabulous pieces that are guaranteed to just give you pleasure. And that, to me, is absolutely sufficient. Totally sufficient. If you enjoy it and you're pleased and you're entertained, that's all it's supposed to do. The transfiguring moment, the vision on the road to Damascus, whatever you want to call it, I'll leave that to Classic FM. So here's my list. Number 1, and the list is down below here in case you're curious, so you can read all the titles. I'm not going to recommend recordings. This is just music. Number 1, Ravel's Mother Goose, the Complete Ballet. One of the most magical, enchanting, beautiful pieces of music in the history of mankind. So there you go. It's not the most emotionally draining piece of music. It's the most gorgeous piece of music ever written, right? I can be extreme and exaggerated too. No, it's lovely. It's wholly lovely, and it just fills you with joy when you hear it. 2, Bohuslav Martinu's Nonette. It's for woodwinds and strings. One of the most delicious pieces of chamber music written in the entire 20th century, with an unbelievably dreamy and haunting slow movement. It was one of the last pieces Martinu composed before he died in the 1950s. And it's just an exceptionally beautiful piece of music. Again, it's a piece that will just fill you with happiness. And I want to be filled with happiness. I don't want my life changed. I just want to be happy. And these pieces will all do that. Number 3, Don Gillis, Symphony No. 5½. One of the funniest pieces of music ever written. It's a delicious, light classic. And it's available in a couple of recordings on Albany. Actually, both of them are on Albany. And there's an old deca of Don Gillis conducting it himself, which is amazing, if you can find it. Don Gillis was the orchestra manager for the NBC Symphony under Toscanini. But he was also a composer of some substance, and Toscanini played Symphony No. 5½, which I think is really rather cool. If you don't know it, give it a shot. It will just bring a grin to your face, and it's only about 12, 15 minutes long, because that's the half, Symphony No. 5½. Number 4, Nino Rota, the suite from La Strada, the ballet based on the Fellini film. This is music of just unbelievable character and color and rhythmic interest and just dynamic, propulsive color and oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And it's been recorded many times, and it has a rumba that has one of the best tunes you've ever heard in your life. It goes ba-dum ba-da-da, da-dum ba-da-da, da-dum ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, ba-dum ba-da, da-dum da-da, da-dum ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum. It's a great tune, and it never comes back the same way twice. And that's what makes it so ear-catching, because you'll never remember it exactly the way it gets played. It's really, really cool. So Nino Rota, La Strada, and then Hindemith, Symphonic Dances. What? You don't know that Hindemith wrote symphonic dances? Yes, he did. It's a virtually unknown work, and it's a major work. It's in 4 big movements. It's like a symphony. And the funny thing about it is that, well, it's Hindemith. So it's German. So its dance-like qualities might be just a little bit clunky and foursquare. You know what I mean? But amiably so. It's just a delight to listen to. It really is. And it's classic late Hindemith. If you like the symphonic metamorphosis on themes by Weber, you're going to like the symphonic dances. There's a lot of really good Hindemith orchestral music talk to come. Videos coming, don't worry. And we're going to discuss a lot of it because he's, at the moment, extremely neglected. He's been really kind of sidelined. For a while, he was like everybody's modern composer who was not a 12-tone guy. So he got played, and then 12-tone music kind of died. And so, okay, now we don't have to do Hindemith anymore. But he was really a good composer. And the symphonic dances are a find. I guarantee it. Number 6, Shostakovich, the Suite for Variety Orchestra, also known as Jazz Suite Number 2, but it's actually the Suite for Theater or Variety Orchestra. That's the one that has the waltz tune. You know, ya da 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 da. You know, it's in a million commercials. It's in there. I mean, Shostakovich reused it in various contexts, and there are a couple other waltzes that sound basically the same. It's sort of the same tune, but turned upside down or diddled a little bit to change it. But that's another piece. It's got a whole pile of movements and a whole, kitchen sink full of instruments, and my God, it's fun to listen to. It's just pure enjoyment, the kind that doesn't change your life. It just is happiness. It makes you smile. So after Shostakovich, Debussy, the Children's Corner Suite. I mean, when's the last time you played that? Oh my goodness, it's fun. I used to drive my family crazy because I played it, actually. It was one of the few things I learned to do on the piano, at least the parts that weren't so hard. I never did get snowflakes or dancing. That was always a little tricky for me. But Golliwogg's Cakewalk with the fake making fun of Tristan and Isolde's, prelude in the central part. Oh, it's so funny. And it's so witty and delightful. And the piece is wonderful. And I love the first number, Dr. Gradus ad Parnassum, because it has like no left hand. You just go bottom, and then you go. It's really good. If you're sort of not a very good pianist and your left hand technique is like not comparable to your right hand, do the Children's Corner. You will be very, very happy and glad that you did. What a delightful piece. Next, number 8, Frederick Shepard Converse, Flivver 10 million. What is a Flivver 10 million? Well, a Flivver was a Ford. It was an old production line car. And this is a tone poem about the manufacture of Flivver, the automobile, and then Flivver's adventures, including a rather tragic traffic accident. It's on Naxos, if you're curious, but it's been recorded a couple of times. It is one of the most delightful of 20th century tone poems. And if you don't know Frederick Shepard Converse, you should get one of those discs because he's a very good composer. And Flivver 10 million is a hoot. It's just, it's like the Pacific 231, Honegger's piece about the train. It's like the Pacific 231 of the automotive industry, only with even more bounce to it. It's just terrific. So give Flivver a roll. You'll be glad that you did. Number 9. Haydn, his Fantasia in C major. Now, I did this on another video, two funny piano works, it was called, or something like two of the funniest piano pieces, Haydn and C.P.E. Bach. And they're both hilarious. The C.P.E. Bach was Lali Rupelach, which nobody knows what that is, but it's a hilarious piece of music. And Haydn's Capriccio, it's called Fantasia or Capriccio in C major, is a very late work from the 1780s. It's kind of like a gigantic, wacky Scarlatti sonata with unbelievably funny moments, including bits where the pianist has to land on a note and let the tone completely die away. He was writing for the piano with sustaining pedals and things. I mean, all of these effects are notated. It's like 6 or 7 minutes. It's hilarious and it's funny and delightful and sparkling. It sparkles. It's effervescent. It will give you bubbles in your brain, good bubbles. Trust me, fun bubbles. And last but not least, number 10, Dvorak's Serenade for Winds in D minor. The Serenade for Winds is just, it's the greatest piece of wind writing since Mozart. And Mozart was the greatest wind writer ever. And this is fully comparable. Mahler said about the Dvorak. See, we're talking about Mahler. I got him into this talk somehow. Mahler said that Dvorak's Wind Serenade had more music in it than most symphonies. And he was right. Every single bar is totally inspired and is a miracle of timbral euphony. It really is. It's just delicious. And once it's over, when it does its final, you're just going to be out of your seat cheering, and your life will be exactly the same as it was when you started. I guarantee that. Nothing will have changed, except that you will be acquainted with 10 absolutely fantastic pieces of great music. And you know what? That is enough, because I believe, unlike the classical FM people, that you do not listen to music to have your life transformed into things unknown. You listen to music because it gives you pleasure. You listen to music for itself, for the joy that it gives us, for the beauty that it reveals, for the fact that it is the only way to experience certain types of pleasure. And all of those, I think, are far better reasons to listen to music than to be transformed. That's just me. Call me regressive. Call me a Philistine. I don't care. I'll be listening to the Dvorak Wind Serenade. And it will make me very, very happy. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.